we're back. This is part 3. Part 1, we made scriptable objects for our cards. In part 2, I took the deck that I made as a global variable and I brought it back to a local variable. So sorry for part 2, but I think that's still a useful skill to learn if you accidentally need to fix a mistake. So that's a pretty fun way to fix mistakes. So now we have a deck. Okay, and this deck has this is our deck. It's got text on it. It's a button. Our deck is a button, but it also has these cards in it. In this deck FSM, we have a shuffle the deck FSM. So when the button is clicked, which would be itself, we are going to shuffle what array, not in globals. No, what we could do is we could instantiate that button as well. Yeah, let's drop that into the deck. Very cool. And so now I'm going to redo all this stuff. I just accidentally have turned on airplane mode on my computer, I think. So now we want to shuffle this array. So shuffle. All right. Why are we looking at globals? What's wrong with the array that we already have? Oh. Ooh. So because we got to do it on the same FSM as our deck of cards. So we're going to come back here and we're going to do a button click event. And which button do we want? Well, it's really actually it's going to be the owner. The owner is the deck and it's a button. So we're going to send the event click. Nope. Learn from mistakes. Click. We're going to call this shuffle. And then we are going to add it. Control click, drag off. F2, copy, paste. This is from part 1 or 2 already, and I'm already redoing everything we've already done. All right, so we're going to do array shuffle, and the array we want to shuffle is the only array we have in here, which is our deck of cards. We're doing the whole thing, and I'm just going to copy that, and then we're going to rename our button. So name, no, I just realized this is not the button that we want to shuffle with. We want to shuffle with our shuffle button. There we go. And then we shuffle, and we're going to set the name of our shuffle button to deal button. All right, and then we're also going to set this text mesh pro u GUI, text mesh pro u GUI basics, text mesh pro u blah, 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 to deal. All right, so all of our game logic is still here. Might make this video part 1. So now if I click shuffle, boom, it's shuffled and it's renamed it deal button. Okay. So let's instantiate this. So we're going to delete this. Yes. This deck, I need to add a photon, actually Playmaker photon game object proxy. And then we're going to add a photon view. All right. And its photon view ID is 2, which is, it should be, I don't think there's anything else in here that's got one. It could easily be 0. And I don't know when this is going to be instantiated, but I'm just going to do it at the beginning. Okay, so we have our connection FSM, which if you don't know how to make a connection, check out some of my other, can't think, some of my other tutorials. So I'm going to drag this deck into our resources folder. You're gone. And then we're going to instantiate it, the assets deck. Boom. Okay, we're going to instantiate it at the spawn point. Oh, I didn't think about my spawn point. Oh, and what's going to be tough is because it's UI, we also need to make it a child of the canvas. So we did. Okay, so I already have it set as a parent, the child. Okay, so let's see. Apparently I set it at -313. Let's see if that works. So I'm going to hit play. I know that wasn't part of the tutorial. It's something I did when I was setting this up, and then I decided to just record it. Hey, great. All right, so what worked for me is probably because I already had it anchored in the right, is I instantiated it, I set the parent, as the canvas game object, and then I set its anchored position. You have to do that for UI elements. The rect transform set anchored position, and I have it at minus 13, 13, so it moved it to the left 13, moved it up 13, because I have the deck's anchor point in the bottom right corner right there. All right, so cool. So we have that. So if I click on the shuffle button, erase shuffle, look at our variables, deck of cards, they're all shuffled. All right, so it's a multiplayer game that shuffles cards you can't see. Hooray! All right, so now let's create some type of player. And this is going to be a player. And my player needs... my player needs a hand. All right, my player is going to need FSM, even though we have this logic component here. My players are going to have their own logic on them. And let's create our hand. So we're just going to call this create our hand. So what's that going to be? I just thought of it just now. So I need to create, I want to make a panel. So we're gonna, on the canvas, I'm gonna go UI. You know, the players could have their own canvas. Yeah, I'll make this less complicated. Really, my deck could have had its own canvas. But oh well, it's there. So we'll make the player have its own canvas. Why not? So UI, let's make it super easy. Canvas. So yeah. And yeah. So there's our canvas. So now I'm gonna right click and I'm gonna go UI and I'm gonna make a panel. And I'm going to click on this little tool here, Alt, Shift, and I'm going to do linker at bottom center. And now I can adjust the height to where I want my hand to be. I don't know, something like that. Oh, and anytime you make a canvas, come over here to the canvas scaler, scale with screen size, and let's match it to 1920 by 1080. All right, same thing with you, canvas. Oh, that's going to jack everything up, isn't it? I have a scale with screen size 800 by 600. Watch how it jacks everything up. 1920 by 1080. Let's hit play. Let's see if it jacks up our deck. Yeah, see how tiny it is. It's be so tiny, you way down here. But I'm gonna keep it there. Nah, let's not. Let's just make the other one. Let's make it back to 800 by 600, and I'll just make them all 800 by 600. All right, 800 by 600. Okay, and this is going to be my hand panel. All right, I don't want it to be that wide. Wonk, 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 wonk. And might be useful to make this scroll horizontally, but I'm not gonna mess with that right now. So we don't really, I really don't really want this here, but we're gonna leave the image there for fun. And then the player, so we don't need to create our hand because I'm making it on the player. What I was gonna do is I was gonna create a point, an anchor point on this canvas to where the player can create their hand. But we're just, we made a canvas on the player, so we're good here. All right, so when it's the player's turn, we need let's mess with our hand panel a bit more. Let's make this a horizontal layout group. And I'm almost tempted to make it a grid. Yeah, let's do that. Let's make this a grid layout group. Just because I can make the cells the exact size I want. So if I go into my project and I go find my sprites. I wish I knew how big they were. Let's go into the sprite editor. They are 140 by 190. So if I come over here, there we go. 140 by 190. Okay. Child alignment, we're gonna do middle center. We're gonna want some spacing, but what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to see if I can take this card, drop it on the panel, What are you doing up there? What are you doing? Why are you up there? That makes 0 sense, dude. That makes 0 sense. So I have my grid. I have my cell size. Is it because... Do I have a scene view? Scene. Alright, let's pop you here. Let's go 2D. And so here's my hand panel. Okay, so my hand panel is where? Where are you, hand panel? Why can't I see my outlines? Wait. So my panel's way up. There's my panel. Okay, so this is because you're a sprite, isn't it? This is because you're a sprite. So we're gonna do hand panel. We're gonna create UI element, an image. Why? Oh, it's because you're massive. I need to divide this by 2. Divide by 2. Undo. Let's divide by 3. Divide by 3. There we go. Okay. So just out of curiosity, let's try dropping a sprite in there. It's still in the wrong space because it's confused. All right, but if this image was that guy, okay, then we can do boinky, boinky, boinky. How many cards do we want to hold? 7? Okay, and then we can go to my hand panel, and we're going to make a little bit of spacing. 10? Love it! It's beautiful. Okay, so let's call this, I can go like this, can't I? And call this card slot. And then we'll do this one's number 1. What am I doing? F2 to enter, down, F2 arrow 3 enter, down, F2 arrow 4 enter, down, F2 5 enter, F2 6 enter, F2. You might feel lazy sometimes to not rename all these, but trust me, it's just going to help you see what's wrong with your logic if you just go ahead and take the time to do this. All right, so I have all these guys, and I'm just going to do that, and I am just going to, boink, make them invisible. All right, so we can hold 7 cards in our hand panel, and we need to tell everybody, this is our hand. So, when the cards are dealt to all the players, this is why everybody hates doing multiplayer. It's complicated. So we're going to get our actor ID. That's not going to work. We need to get our player ID, which I think isn't generated automatically in Pun. You'd have to create it your own. So we're going to do, we can either do player attributes, we can do nicknames. But yeah, so we are going to, in our FSM, let's wait. Let's wait a third of a second. It's arbitrary. Star Trek Voyager uses 0.3 all the time. That's why I'm using 0.3. So we're going to wait. And then we are going to broadcast. Broadcast that. And we are going to broadcast to others buffered, I guess, just in case someone joins late or gets disconnected and rejoins. And we are going to tell them an identifier of some kind. Player number. Jeez, I don't know. And our player number is going to be, we need to get it. So we're going to photon view get owner we could do get owner actor number, or we could get owner properties. You know, I have some custom actions. Let me go look. So whenever I create some custom actions that aren't part of like a big pack I'm going to sell, I just put them on a repo, and I was just looking to see if there's anything in here I needed to use. But no. I can get the number of players in a room, but what I'm going to do is I am going to get actor number. But the problem with actor number is this, and I could just do this just to keep it simple for the tutorial. The actor number will increase based on who's in the room. So if the host joins, their actor number 0, I believe. Someone else joins, their actor number 1. And then when someone else joins, their actor number 2. But if actor number 1 leaves, actor number 2 is still actor number 2. And so if someone else joins, they become actor number 3, which we would want them to actually be actor number 2 and vice versa. So what we're going to have to do is when we enter the room, we need to figure out who we are. So we are going to get players, Photon Network, get players. No, is this one that I had a custom action for? Pun, get players in room. Yeah, so I need this guy. So I believe this repo, yeah, this is a public repo. There's the URL, Mr. Philip Joel's hash or hyphen custom hyphen playmaker hyphen actions. All right, so I just need to get players in room. Let's what am I doing? This is in on my computer. Oh, jeez. All right, so if I go assets, import new asset, come back here and look for Mr. Philip Joel. Where you at? There we go. And I want pun get players in room. Huzzah. You went to a weird place. Okay, so the namespace Huton Games Playmaker Pun 2 Actions already contains a definition for pun get players in room. Are you sure? Because I was just looking, and it was get players in rooms, plural. Right, Photon Network, get players in rooms count. This is getting all, oh, pun get players in room. Okay, my goodness. I'm embarrassed. There it is. So let's get the player count. Player count. Okay, so once we get the player count, and you could probably do this in the same state, but when it comes with network stuff, I like to break it out into different states so that I make sure that they're finishing before the next one happens. And so now I'm going to add a transition, finished, and we're going to int add. And we're going to get the player count. We're going to add 1. And then we are going to increment player count. And then what we're going to do is we are going to set player custom property. Is this one broken? Because I think I have one of those. No, I think mine's get. Yeah, mine's get. All right, we'll probably still need that though. All right, so we're gonna set custom property and local player. The custom property key is player number, and then the type is an int, and the value is player count and success. All right. I mean, you could do a failure one and debug a failure, but I'm not going to mess with that. Okay, so we have success. We can probably come over here. All right, what are we doing over here now? So now we're going to broadcast the event. But I made the biggest mistake ever when it comes to multiplayer. Your start state almost every single time should be what? Yes, get is mine. Let's add a state. This is the most important thing. Get is mine. Because if you don't get is mine, when your player is instantiated, all the other players are going to run the logic on your player on their machine, and it's going to just be crazy. You're claiming that I don't have a photon view component. Oh, and you would be correct. So let's add one. This is also getting instantiated, so I should probably add a Playmaker photon game object proxy. And we're going to do F2 copy photon view get is mine. You have to be the start state like every single time. Set a start state. And I'll bring everything over here, put you like this. And if it is mine, then we do the is mine event. And then we can do all this fun logic. If it is not mine, is not mine, I like to turn this whole thing off. So enable FSM. And this FSM's name is, oh, what a horrible name. We're going to do get player number. That's what this is called. And then get player number. Don't enable it. Don't reset and exit. And we're going to do disable this FSM as the name of this state. And we'll just make it really bold and say, yeah, we're disabling it. You read. Okay. So photon view get is mine. If it is mine, we're going to wait 0.3 seconds. We really don't need to do that. Once we get is mine, we should be golden. So we're going to get is mine, and then we're going to do the get players in room. We're going to increment the player count, and then we are going to broadcast. We don't need to broadcast the event because we are storing the custom property. And when do we want the other players? Because the other players then can then I gotta pause to sort my thoughts. All right, so we need to send some type of event to let the other players know they can come get my property now. But maybe we won't, because we can always just do it as often as we can. So what we can do is we don't need this success. We can just set it and just be done there. And so then what we can do is, since that shouldn't take that long, since that's is mine, is not mine, blah, 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 is we need a new FSM, and we need, we're going to, we could do a get is mine. I think we will. I think we will. No, I don't think we will. Because whether it's mine or not, we're going to do this same logic. So we're going to wait. Let's wait 1 second. And because that should give it plenty of time to do the other FSM. So we're just waiting here. And then we're finishing. So then we're going to do is we are going to get custom, and this is where I think I have to go get my custom one. Photon Network get custom property. Because I think the one that exists currently, it gets player properties and it doesn't work very well. So I'm going to do Photon Network get custom property. This one I need to add from my stuff, Photon Network get custom property. There it is. All right, so come back to the player. Looks like it might still be compiling. Are you compiling? I think it's doing something. It's weird I don't have a pop-up window. All right, I'll pause while it's doing it. All right, it's working now. Get custom property. And the reference by owned object. We can't do local player because then all the players are gonna get their own thing. So we need is by owned object. So we want to get the custom property of the player that owns this player object. And the custom property key is what? Player count. Okay. Player count. And we're going to store this I want to make a global array, but I don't want to run into the same issue we had last time. But I'm going to make a global array. I'm going to do it. We're going to make an array. And we're going to call this... Oh, geez. We're going to call this... No, that won't work. That won't work because... Oh, I could have done this so much simpler. What I could have done instead is as a player enters a room, I could have added them to an array, and then it would have kept them in that order. That would have been so much easier. But this is still useful in case players leave rooms and whatnot. So this is still good. So I want to do this as... I want to know... yes. Okay, so we're not doing an array. We're going to store this value as player count. Okay. So we're going to call this get player count. Wait, get this player's count. That's what we're doing here. This player's count. And then what we'll do is we'll have a string switch. Because we're getting a property, I'm doing it in a new state. All right, so we'll have a string switch. No, it's an int, isn't it? Yeah, it's an int. Cool. All right, so we'll do an int switch. All right, so we'll set it up for, I don't know, 4 players. Why not? If custom properties value, oh geez, because it's always stored as a string. Even though it lets me choose type int, it's a lie. So I'm just going to be safe, and I'm going to make this a string, and I'm going to convert the player count int to a string because I just don't trust it. I don't know why it makes it look like we can change the type, because when we get the property, dang it, when we get the property, it's just going to come in as a string. So we have to make it a string. It's going to be a string. So how are you already a string? Did I tell you to be a string? I don't remember telling you to be a string. I guess I told him to be a string. All right, so we're going to do this, and we're going to do a string switch. I don't really like this, but we're going to have 4 and string 1, string 2, string 3, string 4. No, that's what the string actually is. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we'll say is 1 as the event, is 2. I probably could put is player 1, is player 2, is 3, because that makes it look like a bool, and is 4. Okay. So, F2, copy, paste, enter. So, if this player is player 1, then we are going to set game object, and the variable is going to be a new global, and it's going to be player 1, and it's going to be this guy. So that guy, right? All right. Set as player 1. Okay, so copy paste. Set as player 2. Gotta love it when it works that way. All right. So is 1, is 2, is 3, is 4, and then this is going to be new global variable player 2. And this is going to be new global variable player 3 and new global variable player 4. Oh, dang it. Editor windows, global variables. Can I rename you from here? Of course not. Goodbye. That escalated quickly, right? New global variable player 45. Player 4. Great. And one thing I should have done is set name, right, as, the owner. And we're going to say we are player 1. Copy. Paste. Player 2. Paste. Player 3. Paste. Player 4. Okay. Save. Project. Card game resources. We now have a player prefab. Delete. And we're going to go Playmaker. If we're creating the room, we're going to network instantiate the deck. All right. And then we're going to instantiate player. Instantiate, and the game object is just going to be the player. Assets. Oh, geez, I'm never going to find this. I have 1,000 players in this project. There we go. Card game demo. Okay. And we'll store object as, well, let's make it, just in case we need to know ourselves. We're going to store this as the local player in a global variable. Okay, so if we hit play now, and this is where we're going to wrap up this part of the series. We instantiated. Wait, what? What? No. No. What just happened? That's not what I told you to instantiate. What's all this garbage? Shuffle the deck. Oh yeah, I'll just go ahead and remove you. Deal it. I think we can remove you too. And then Playmaker photon proxy, the connection, instantiate the player. I know I did not pick you. Ultimate Pun 2 integration, card game demo, resources player. Yeah, that is what I picked in the project. Player. You should have no shape. You should just be an empty thingy. What the heck happened? You have nothing to you. Player? Yeah, you have the canvas. That's all you have. Why did it have a body? Play again. What? Where? What? Why are you here? This is insanity. It's activating. Okay, so we're going to have to make this a little bit different. Card player. I've never seen something like that happen before. That's insane. And it even says card player. I'm just instantiating the deck. I'm not instantiating. That is so weird. Card assets. Card player. That is so weird. All right, let's try this again. There we go. That was insane. Okay, good. But some of the logic didn't do what it was supposed to do because we got our player count, and then on this guy we waited. Did we not wait long enough? The owned object, we didn't get its reference. So we need to put in, and here I thought we were wrapping up, but we didn't. I got to play one more time. I should have looked at something else. We'll play one more time here. So, pun set player custom property. The reference is the local player. The custom property name. How did that get changed back to an int? Didn't I change that to increment player count 1? Then we're going to make this type a string. And the custom property value, we're going to convert the player count. Apparently my child is using my phone. It's almost dead. Okay. And let's just go ahead and put a success event on this so that we can see that it's successful. Empty state. And then this FSM, let's give it a name, and we're going to get and set player count. Player number? Well, let's get player number, and this is, I don't know, assign player number? But that's super confusing. I have to figure out better names for those. All right, let's try hitting play again. And let's go back over here. And still, it's not getting it. So it says it's player count. It's saying that there's 2 players. Pun get players in room. Oh, because there was just 1. We don't need to increment. Why did I increment it? Oh, that's insane. Because I kept thinking about like 0, or I was thinking about you're counting the other players. It counts yourself, Dingleberry. We don't need to increment the player count. We just need to set it. Set player custom property count. I don't know what a count is. Count. Okay. So we're setting it. And then just over here, get this player's count. Let's do is null. String null. String string. Okay. Playmaker, add-ons, ecosystem, string null. I know this is an action that exists. I thought it was in the default. Oh, jeez. String. I'm going too fast. I'm going too fast. String. Oh, string is null or empty. I feel like that's important to be in the main thingamajigger, the name Playmaker package installation. But it is not. But that's all cool. That's why we have the ecosystem. You know what? I think I'm gonna make it a separate state. Is null. This is a check for is string null. And we'll make it yellow. Saying we're slowing down. See if it's null. All right, string null. And if the player count is null or empty, wait and check again. Boink. If it's not null or empty, then we will finish. All right, so bring you here, wait and check again. Oh, you know what? We could just go like this. Take you back to start state. So now let's come over here. Let's hit play. Is it multiplayer fun? All right. Something's still not working. Assign player number. It's not getting the player count. All right, I will pause and dig deeper. All right, would y'all look at this again? Don't you remember me coming in here and saying, hey, yo, we don't want this to be an int. We want it to be a string. And it's an int again. I don't know if that's causing the issue. Player custom. There we go. Customer custom pun set player custom property. Okay. And the player is the local player. The custom property key is whatever we want it to be. But we're going to do it player count. Player count. The type is a string. Player count. And the custom property value, we're going to do this. We're going to get players in room. We're going to come back over here. We're going to go int to string. Even though it does it on its own, sometimes it gets a little bit goofy. We want to convert this player count to player count string. Don't care about that. Copy, paste, add transition, finish, drop it in here, set player custom property count. The type of string, the custom property value is the player count string. Success. Now, when we get the custom property player count, are you storing it as a string? You are. If it's null, we're going to loop around. If it's not null, we're going to finish, and then we're going to get that string variable, check all that jazz. You better save this time. I'm going to just go save project here. That doesn't force the prefabs to save, I don't think. Let's play again, because this episode is way too long. Yes! Now I knew it worked, because look at the hierarchy. Player 1. That's right, because we renamed it in the assigned player number. Set as player 1. All right, so that's going to wrap us up on this part. So what we've done so far is we have a deck object that's in our resources folder. And in this deck object, there's an array that holds all our scriptable objects of potential cards. What we do whenever we start, once we connect to the room, if we are the host, we network instantiate the deck. The deck gets out there. But then we need to start doing player logic, because what we're going to do once we instantiate the players is now we can start doing the dealing in the next episode. But we need to know who the players are and know who we're dealing to. And also, we're going to do some edits to our player, because our player is going to need to have a hand array. So we're going to deal with that as well. So stay tuned for the next episode. Hopefully the next one won't be, oh my, 42 minutes. See you next time.